Alright, guys, welcome to episode 2 of Think Tank by BYOB. We're here today with my co-host Hussein, Sajint. Am I pronouncing it right?
Yeah.
Sajint and
Finally,
Anamika on my right. Finally, right? But today, the theme and essentially the idea for the whole conversation, all I say, I really don't want to call it a podcast, man. I should call it a conversation.
Yeah.
Is talking about the creative industry, talking about you guys as the young pioneers in the creative industry, along with us, of course.
Thank you. Yeah.
And understanding what struggles and how you guys came about in your journey and what is relevant to us as creators in Dubai specifically, right? Because I think we're all Dubai born and raised kids, right? So I think we'll have a lot of commonalities, mutual friends, millions of them. I'm sure of that, but
We just spoke about 5 people right now.
But I would love to start with you, Sajid, man. Tell me, what do you do in a very fun way that we'll all understand?
Yeah. So the thing that I do is I talk on mic and listen to music for money. I mean, I'm a radio host.
Okay.
I host the mid-morning show on Dil Se 90.8 FM. It's a Malayalam station. It's Malayalam ആരെങ്കിലും കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടെങ്കിൽ ഒന്ന് താഴെ ഒന്ന് കമന്റ് ചെയ്യുക. Free promotion also on the side. So
Very
we do
cool.
a little mid-morning show. My show is called Metro Moments. We talk about tech, UAE-based.
Pause.
Yeah.
Is this your radio voice?
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah.
That's
So
me.
what do you think? Like,
I thought there's going to be
the radio
exactly.
like that kind of bass. No,
Exactly.
no.
That's what I thought.
That's how it was, let's say, like around 15 years to 20 years back.
Okay.
But now with all this podcast and social media and all of that, people don't really want you to modulate. It's like, you
So
know,
it's more
they just want to be you.
natural, raw
Like,
kind of
you
thing.
have to be you.
Okay.
So that's
Nice.
pretty much about it. So what I do. So I try to feature and represent Gen Z voice in Malayalam radio.
There we go.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
What will be Anamika?
Well, this is a long list, but I'm a singer, I'm a dancer, I'm an actor, a choreographer, a model, I draw sometimes, and yeah, I think that's pretty much
Have you
it.
seen that
She's
Priyanka
good.
Chopra
It's-
video? No? None of
Oh,
you?
yeah.
That sounded so much like that.
Enter Priyanka Chopra clip over here, dude. Like,
I'm an actor, I'm a singer, I'm an author, I'm a producer, I'm an artist.
Was there like a defining time in your life where you were like, okay, I'm good at what I do and I want to carry on doing this for a career?
I think I was like 10 when I
Okay.
realized, because I was never one for the academic side of school, right? And math was just not it, man. It was
Same,
just
I
not
feel
it.
that. I feel
So-
we've all been
Right?
I get a headache every time I look at numbers.
I think everyone in the media industry is just not it, right? So I started singing very early in my life when I was like, I think 3.5, 4.
Okay.
Hated it because my parents forced me, but I'm glad they did force me because it did turn into something I wanted to do later on. And I think I started dancing when I was like 12. And then I was like, you know what? I'm good at what I do. I'm good at everything I'm trying. Just take it forward. And my parents have been super supportive. So
What kind of dance?
I started off with hip hop,
Okay.
contemporary, a little bit of ballet. Actually, your mom suggested, you
Wait,
know,
you
the
guys are
first
family
place
or
that I
what?
shout out mom, dude. But
Shout out to mom.
shout out auntie.
Give some context.
അമ്മയെ
How do you know his
കേൾക്കുന്നുണ്ടോ?
mom?
So I think we were at a family gathering. You were in there.
Okay.
It was your parents.
Okay.
And my mom asked your mom if there was any place that I could go to for dance lessons. And then your mom suggested Shamak Dabar.
oh yeah,
Yeah, and that's where I first started dancing.
Dude, I used to be part of this dance studio, and her mom asked my mom, "Hey, do you know any studios out there?"
Okay.
And we referred her to that, and that's how she got into dancing. So technically, if it wasn't for me, she wouldn't be dancing.
Yeah, basically.
We travel back in time.
Basically.
So we
Look at
travel
that.
back in time and like, you know, move him away from suggesting.
And I would not be
Everything
here.
changes.
Wow.
You'd be like a math teacher or something today. Like, who knows?
Let's not
But
do
think
that.
about it.
Let's
It's like
not.
like a full circle moment, dude. You know, right?
Yeah.
You know what I'm thinking
because you
about?
dance. Yeah. No, but I love the one thing you mentioned again. Shout out mom. But one thing you mentioned is
Shout out
like
mom,
how in the Indian culture, I think most families, parents put you out to random things like
Yeah,
piano,
yeah.
karate. Like I'm sure you guys were going for karate. I'm sure you're going for karate
Yeah,
as
I
well.
have, yeah.
We
That's
don't even
very-
know why, but yeah, we've
Yeah.
all been there.
It's very middle class Indian trait, right? They put the
Yeah,
things, but I think it's
yeah.
amazing. I think the most random is karate. I think a lot of Dubai kids are going for karate as well.
It is a very common
that a
thing.
good or a bad thing? Like pushing your kids to try everything, is that too much pressure on them, or is that you helping them to find out what's their arena.
So on a serious note, what I think was, there are times when they, back in their childhood or let's say in their teenagers, they didn't have the opportunity to do these things. And now they're like, they have the resources and they have the time to put you guys in these things. It's more like they want you to try. But as you said, there's also a toxic side of it. Like sometimes it does not work well for everyone. Not everybody wants to dance and sing and do karate. So
Exactly.
that's one thing, I guess.
Makes sense.
On to you, Sajjan. The same question for her. Yeah.
So since like the age of 7 or let's say 6, I was into music. So I started learning Carnatic music since a very young age. So I've been on stages singing, eventually got into emceeing.
Okay.
So I started doing on like in school events, community events, Mallus, association events and all that. So eventually got to a level where I started getting like, gigs and doing small time stuff. That was the time I thought, why don't I do this? Like, why don't I make a career out of this? And extroversion and talkativeness is like in the blood. Everyone in our families, keeps talking and we love music. So I was like looking for a career, where I could do both of these things together. My love for music and love for talking. So that's how I ended up in radio. And being a Mallu kid in Dubai, the most mainstream media that we have in the UAE is Malayalam radio in Dubai. Because this is one station or let's say one medium or media that's listened to people, Malayalis around the world. So I was like, when we see them on air, on TV and all this, I was like, bro, this is what I want to do.
Nice.
So yeah, long story short, that's how I ended up here.
Okay, so tell us how you open your emceeing, like for Dil Se.
I don't have like a specific pattern that I do. Depends on the time. If it's like morning, then I was like, good morning, namaskaram, beautiful people. You're tuned into Dil Se 90.8 FM. Metro Moments il Sajjan Thana, ningada kode 2 mani vare.
That's what I was looking for. That's what I was looking for. Okay.
So a lot of people think that, that's how we talk always. But the thing on radio is very time bound. You have to give space for the ads to come in. You have to give space for the liners to pop in. So you're very conscious with time. So you go pretty fast.
Okay.
Yeah.
Interesting, man.
So I've had this question asked by a lot of people. You're like, you're very slow and calmed and chilled out while talking.
Yeah. Interesting, man. I think
Myth busted, yeah.
Myth busted. I think this is a good time to kind of segue to Hussein's little segment as well.
Yeah, so before we get into the meat of this podcast, just to get the creative juices flowing, we'll play like a small game. So I call this Who's on My Mind.
Okay.
So the objective of this game is for you guys to guess which celebrity I'm thinking of, and it's gonna be in your world, right?
You're giving us tickets or contest or vouchers or something like that?
So currently, our production budget's a little tight, but like maybe in the future.
Cut that part.
So you have 5 chances to guess who it is.
Okay.
Each round, I will reveal a fact about this mysterious celebrity that's on my mind.
Okay.
And starting with an obscure fact, the facts will get easier as we progress through the rounds. The faster you guess, the more points you earn. Get it on the first round, you get 5 points. Second round, 4 points, and so on and so forth. Okay. So what I want you to do is I want the 3 of you to work in a team and give me 1 guess per round. Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Okay. So the first fact is the person I'm thinking of has the 9th most viewed YouTube video in history with 4.9 billion views. So it's a singer or a dancer. That's the clue.
Okay. Singer or dancer.
Yeah. 9th most viewed.
This is where you guys
history.
come in now.
Yeah, it's your area.
Okay, wait.
Hard to guess with this
YouTube,
fact.
you said.
YouTube.
No, this video's on YouTube, but
Right.
it's a mainstream celebrity.
How long back?
That's not a part of this fact here.
Oh, I'm so bad.
English? Like
Western.
One Direction? I mean, some of the videos have like
Okay.
crazy views.
Okay.
Someone from
Is
One
it
Direction?
a band or is it like a
Yeah.
single person?
Valid question.
You guys aren't allowed to
I
ask
can't
questions.
tell. I can't ask.
But
Never mind.
I'm gonna take One Direction as the answer, and it was not. So let's move on to the next
Okay.
fact.
Okay.
Okay.
That's fine.
That's
Don't
fine.
worry about it.
Next one's in.
I don't
next
think we
one's in
could have
you
done
both.
any better.
Yeah.
It'll get easier.
Okay.
So
let's try.
although he's better known by his stage name, his real name is Peter Jean Bayot Hernandez.
One
But
thing that
he's
I know
a
for
very
sure,
popular-
his stage name is going to be something crazy.
Yeah, nothing related to
Nothing to
this.
do with this.
Oh my god.
Is
Serious?
Is he white?
PSI?
Wait,
No.
PSY?
What's the guy's
That's
name?
not a
The guy
bad guess.
with
Yeah, the Gangnam Style.
the Gangnam Style, yeah.
Is he
okay.
white? I mean,
You can't ask questions.
It's not racist. Yeah. Quite a racist question to ask.
It's not PSY, so I'll move on to the next fact. Okay.
Okay, that's good.
His first album was released in 2010, so that's the time frame for you, and it was called Doo-Wops and Hooligans.
The album name is very familiar.
Doo-Wops
No.
and
That's what I said. Every fact makes
Oh
it
my
easier
god!
for you.
Wait.
It's a person, yeah. Is he in a
Yeah.
band or something?
Wait, no, he's not in a band. Yeah.
Oh shit.
Okay. I'll move to the last fact.
It's on you. It's on you.
Oh my
It's on you.
god.
I'm pretty sure
It's
you'll
on
get
you.
it this time.
Okay.
He's
oh my god.
half
If I don't.
Puerto Rican and half Filipino.
Puerto Rico.
Puerto Rico.
Half Filipino. half Puerto
Filipino.
Rican.
Yeah. His mom is Filipino, dad is Puerto Rican, but he makes Western songs.
Damn.
What? Wow. This is
You know
a
what?
hard
I'm
one, man.
completely clueless.
Completely in the dark.
What
Puerto
is
Rican.
going on?
Enrique Iglesias, no.
He's Spanish, isn't he?
He's
Bro,
Latino.
he's a stand-up comedian, yeah?
What?
Wait. That's Gabriel
that's-
Iglesias. Okay, sorry. My bad.
Okay, last clue. If you don't get this, I'll quit this podcast right now. His most popular song is Uptown Funk.
Oh my
Bruno
my
Mars.
god.
Okay. But
He's
my
Filipino?
God.
Oh,
His mom is
man.
Filipino, yeah.
Ah,
Okay.
I
So,
missed that
so
comment.
that was...
Damn.
You know
24
what? You know what?
karat magic in
So
the
you do
air.
know her.
Yeah.
Okay. This one's going to be much easier, okay?
Okay.
Let's hope.
New celebrity, okay? So the first fact is he holds the Guinness World Record for the most successful entertainer of all time.
Pitbull.
Not a bad guess.
Mr. Worldwide.
But it's not Pitbull.
It's not.
It's going to get easier. His first album is Got to Be There, released in 1972.
Oh,
72.
Don't let the year scare you. He's very popular.
Okay.
Michael Jackson?
Yep. Nice. Nice. Okay.
He's
So
That was the
getting
wildest
there.
guess.
Speaking of celebrities, who would you say is your dream guest to have on the radio?
Let's say.
Let's stick to the theme of
Okay,
music and
so
dance then.
From music.
Uh-huh.
If I had taken my context, because we have like more Indian music that we play.
Okay.
So A.R. Rahman.
Oh,
Okay.
nice.
Oh, man, that'll be a really fun guest to have, right?
Yeah.
What about you?
Okay,
Choreo
for me,
collab
I
with.
think dance-wise, definitely Prabhudeva.
Oh,
okay.
I need
Yeah.
to meet him. I need to work with him.
I
His
feel like
his style is something that
Legendary.
we've never seen before, and I don't think we will ever see it again. It's very one of a kind. I think acting-wise, I don't know. I have to be very cliche about this, but I love Shah Rukh Khan, man.
oh, come
Well,
on.
actually,
man.
Mammootty,
I love that guy.
Who
I
doesn't
mean,
like Shah Rukh Khan,
yeah, exactly. I mean, his charm is just something else,
is.
right?
It's quite charming. Oh, you know what, man?
Yeah.
You brought up, I think, very relevant this conversation is let's talk with the meat and potatoes of this whole chat. That is the whole creative industry in Dubai. We got RJ, we got a dancer / singer as well. So we're getting very different contrasting viewpoints as well. So I would love to know from you guys, like, how is it like?
Okay, I think people say like, oh, like Dubai, the media, side is still growing. It's still not completely established yet. But I think there is a lot of opportunity here if you're, looking in the right places. But again, it depends on where you're looking, right?
Okay.
Because again, a lot of people, work ethic wise, things like that, you will face a lot of problems and issues. But again, there are a lot of companies I've worked with, a lot of people, organizations I've worked with, which has been completely smooth. And I think when you talk about becoming something more, Dubai is a little bit limited in the arts industry, I would say, because again, it's not like India, right?
Yeah.
It's a very small place. You don't have as much happening here. Here, there are seasons to these things, right? Okay, like the summer, winter, obviously you have a lot of
makes
events.
sense, yeah.
You have certain seasons that you will get amazing work in. You will get a lot of money. You can make a lot of money. You can do a lot of things. But some seasons is really dry. So I think it's just practical to have something else also on the side happening. Like, I think that's why I know a lot of people who are dancers or, artists in general, but they do have a backup in
Makes sense,
case,
yeah.
this doesn't pan out, right? But again, I think it's also like a personal thing. For me, I never really I wanted a backup, because for me, I thought, what, if I have a backup, I feel like I'm not going to give my 200% to this. In my head, I'm always going to be like, I have a backup if this doesn't pan out.
Yeah.
It's fine if it doesn't,
plan B,
right?
yeah.
And I was like, no, I want to make myself successful in this field. I chose it. I want to be successful in this, and I'm going to make it happen. So I don't want a backup, right? I don't want that insurance.
I love that. Yeah. I
Yeah.
think That's a really good mindset to have as well. Like not to have a backup because you know where you want to be. So why have a option to it, right? Like why listen to other people? But what would be
context-wise, if you ask like a very Dubai context, for the thing that I'm doing, especially in Malayalam or let's say Indian industry and media field as a whole, and in terms of opportunity, I would say Dubai is a place that's both Indian and international at the same time. Because I know seniors and people from the same industry who are doing very good here. Some of the very popular names in Malayalam and Indian industry as well in terms of media, whatever it is. So Dubai is a place where you get opportunities. Like if you look at people who are doing radio, they're not just doing radio alone. They're doing movies. They're doing television. They're doing a couple of other things. So this is the only place, for example, like one day I can interview Wiz Khalifa and the other day I can go and interview Yeshudas on the same place. So this kind of a dynamic that we have in terms of opportunity is not there, let's say, I'm not saying it's not there in India, but Dubai is a very small market. And for, let's say, a craft like what she's doing, you said the opportunities are very limited. But for media, on the other hand, if you manage to make it big here, if you manage to make a mark here, everybody knows you. Like it's like the exposure that you're getting, because all the Malayalis around the world, all the Indians around the world, in terms of media or movie industry or anything, they look up to Dubai. So that's 100%. One big opportunity.
Especially Malayalis, right?
Especially Malayalis, yes.
The South Asian community as well. Gulf.
So Dubai is like another district in Kerala. So we have that opportunity. Yeah.
And I think what's interesting is, funnily enough, I've liked the industries. I mean, the creative space in Dubai is buzzing, if you ask me, especially in winters, as you said, it's seasonal. Yeah. Especially right now, I think it's still reaching a very good point. I think it's still getting there. And I think, so after the me and Hussein gonna kind of go to like an Afrobeat community as well. So there are these cool market communities popping up, whether it be women empowerment, women in business, whether it be creative industry as well. For example, I have a really good friend of mine, Shannon Fernandez. He runs Off the Record. Have you guys heard of Off the Record? You might have heard of it.
It's the name sounds familiar.
Yeah, it's like an events, like kind of like a getaway club for people where he hosts events in different bars and different lounges where they invite a bunch of, let's say, people our age, 20 to 25 to 30, and they just come. Go crazy, right? It's good music, good vibes. You meet a lot of people you grew up with and you didn't meet. And there's another guy called Adam Fernandez. Again, I know him through a mutual called Stick No Bills. You guys might have heard of Stick No Bills.
Is he an influencer?
Yeah.
I mean, he's not an influencer yet. I think he's still getting there, but the brand he's building is
I've
insane,
seen his
right?
videos.
DJ Jeff, he runs it as well. DJ Jeff and Adam Fernandez. I think
DJ
another
Jeff
person as well.
is the husband of Preeti Malik from Virgin Radio.
Yes, that's the one. Yeah, but the brand they're building is insane as well. Like, I go there like 4-5 events. I don't think I've been there. Right?
No,
amazing stuff. I like the music, like the culture they've brought is buzzing. Like, and I think these guys are doing a really. They're kind of very, very much impacting the whole creative community in Dubai. I really feel like, because they bring artists, they discover young talent, and I think this is really cool.
And one thing that I've heard, talking about DJ Jeff, I don't know him personally. We just have a couple of mutual friends, very close mutual friends. So one thing he spoke recently on Chris Fade show, which is a radio show, about third culture kids. So I think it's probably about this initiative or the other way around. But the thing that he does in his craft and in his music is represent this generation of third culture kids, which is what we are. Yeah, like people who are from another nation, living in another nation, but still not really the citizens of this country, but expats, we belong here. Yeah.
So what you just said right now is exactly Stick No Bills. He was
probably the same thing he was promoting on.
No, probably it is the same thing. Yeah, so it's so funny.
Let's keep it open to the.
It's so funny you were talking because I came across that thing as well.
Yeah, that's the thing with Dubai. There's so many incubators. There's so many groups, communities. You can always grow whatever your passion is.
Oh yeah.
But sticking with that theme. So you guys found your passion at a young age, you would say.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people they stick with the safer route in life, become a doctor and a lawyer and engineer. But you guys have chosen an unconventional career. So how do you plan to monetize, make money out of this? Because that is important at the end of the day.
Exactly. So one thing that has personally helped me is networking. Let's say Vasta in the sense, but not in the wrong sense. Let's say networking has helped me a lot. Because when I was beginning with this intention for getting into radio, media and all that, the first thing that I did was to connect people as much as possible who are already doing this, find mentors. And I went to them. So how did you guys come into this? So what were the challenges? And what's the practical way to go about? And not just these things. So as I said, like I have a couple of interests that I do. I'm into coloring poetry. I'm into music. There are a lot of things that I do. And as you said, monetizing it is like a very important thing. Of course, you need money to survive. Yeah. So networking is the key, I would say. And for anyone who's getting started with anything that they're following, connect with people, and I'm sure people who are already there, who've already made it, they'll be absolutely down to, help you guys. So connect with them. I think they're the only ones who could tell you the reality, because a lot of people are going to sugarcoat and say, you can do this, you can do that. Yeah. But at the end of the day, you need money you need fulus.
But what are your means to connect with people? Is it a social media platform, or is it cold calling? What is it?
Not exactly cold calling. So I don't think anyone appreciates cold calling. I mean, especially in this field. So what I personally did was connect with them through social media. Okay. That's one way of doing it.
Which social media?
Let's say Instagram or Facebook or whatever it is. That's one medium of connecting it. And the other one is events. So when I wanted to get into emceeing or whatever it is, I used to also sing, and I used to do these small, gigs in a way, like part of a big show and all that. So during these events, these people used to come as guests or let's say MCs or whatever it is. Any opportunity, I'm not just saying this is one opportunity, but any kind of opportunity. For example, if there are people who are doing road shows, if there are community events, public events that are happening, any small opportunity that you get to get up close with these people, go ahead. A lot of I had this personal issue. I was like, what are they going to think? How are they going to judge me? Walk up to them and you talk to them. Leave all that thing aside. Go up front, talk with them. See, this is what I want to do.
What about you, Anamika? How do you monetize what you do?
Monetize it.
Or how do you plan on monetizing it?
It's difficult. I'm not going to lie to you, because I started doing shows and performances and choreography very, very young, right? Now, when we're talking about, let's say, a 12-year-old or a 14-year-old, nobody wants to pay you at that age, right? Because they're like, that's a kid, right? And when it comes to artists, any performances, any shows, any gigs you're doing, everyone likes to call it exposure, right? So that is a word that is thrown around a lot. As artists, you hear that a lot. Oh, this is good exposure for you. Why do you need to get paid for it, right? But again, as an artist, you're taking money from your pocket to do a lot of these things. For example, let's say I have to choreograph, for a performance, and I need 12 dancers, right? I need to pay these 12 dancers. I need to find a studio to rent to teach them the choreo, right? I need transportation for these people. I need costumes. I need, refreshments, food, all of these things. This is a lot of added expense that, again, most artists end up taking from their own pockets, which organizers are not ready to give you, right? Let's say they have a fixed budget for, the artist's part of the event, and they're not going to budge from that. But it's been difficult. But again, I think it also depends on what community you're in. The Indian community, to be very, very honest, very honest. A little bit stingy, okay? They're ready to pay celebrities, the exact amount or more that they ask for. But, as a performer or as a choreographer, as someone who's providing these things, when you ask for a minimum budget, they want to negotiate. They want to, give you peanuts, right? But again, I think because of that, the Indian community here, it's kind of becoming very, very less, the type of events that's happening here and all of that, because especially as artists, now I think people are recognizing that they don't want to do work for, let's say, I know people who've gotten paid 200 dirhams for a show, right?
Okay.
That is very, very less, because you're practicing for, let's say, 2 weeks. All your, money, if you're driving, petrol, salik, parking, right? All these things. These are things that you have to,
factor in.
Yeah, you have to factor in all these things. And people think this is not your full-time job, right? This is just a hobby.
That's one question that we get asked a lot.
I think
it's kind of condescending, isn't it?
I mean, not me especially, but obviously other people who have other jobs as well. They're like,
I think art in Dubai. I think that's a general question that we get.
You have a full-time job. Why do you need to make money off of this?
as she said, there is a specific rate that, which is not really a good rate to pay for people. But at the same time, there are tons of people on the other end of the corner,
who are ready to
so I think
do it for that price.
that's one
I
issue
know.
with the market.
I think that is there, but that is slowly reducing now for but again, that's the thing, the quality over quantity, right? Like I can get 20 people to do an average show right here for $200, but if you want something spectacular, I can pay me accordingly. I can give that to 5 people and put on an even spectacular show.
Okay.
I think something is very patterned. I really have to mention. I think I really see you guys, and I think all of us, especially you both, the confidence. I feel like as an artist or as a performer, let's say, I feel like confidence is the differentiating factor. Let's be honest, right? And I think you can really see the difference when someone's confident. I'm passionate as well. Right? But you can really see a difference on stage if a dancer is very confident in their own skin. And I've seen a lot of your dancers that I can really see that ooze out of you, right? But out of curiosity, I want to ask you guys as well, if you guys if you guys are performers or very technical, because I like to say I'm a performer, like, so I play the drums as well. On the stage, I become an animal, so I would call myself a performer. But what about you guys? Like, would you guys fall in the performer bracket or the whole technically gifted bracket?
Performance in the sense, because like in terms of all the kind of stuff that I do, whether it's music or whether it's colory, I mean, into demonstrations and all
even
that.
being in Arjo as well, if you're talking, if you're talking live,
I think I'm more of the performer type.
Okay.
Because stage is a place of uncertainty.
Yeah.
So we can't really expect, the kind of crowd that's going to come in, the kind of the energy that they give you, because it's not like just the energy that we give to them. It depends a lot on the energy that we receive as well. So I think being prompt and being spontaneous helps you like make your performance better. Then I'm not blaming anyone who's like, well practiced, technically, like gifted talent. I mean, appreciate that. That's something that I may not be able to do. But at the same time, I think personally being spontaneous has worked.
Nice. Okay.
Because
wait, just for context for the non-Malayali viewers, what is Kalari? And do you like participate still?
Yeah, so I still do. So Kalaripayattu is basically an Indian martial art. So it's a 3,000-year-old martial art, and it's also called the mother of all martial arts. So we had a Kalari tradition in the family since a very long time. So I wanted to be that next person who wanted to take it to the next generation, because it was kind of dying. So I wanted to take up more than an art form. It's more like a personal connection. And now it has become like an integral part of my life. So,
That's the one with weapons, right?
Yes.
Okay.
So people used to train in Kalaripayattu to go to war. So, but when the British came to India, they banned it for 200 years. So Kalaripayattu was practiced underground. So, and after that, now it's like in the revival phase. And with Kalaripayattu, there's everything from bare hand combat to like wooden weapons, metallic weapons, even medicine, Ayurveda. If you see a lot of the focus of Ayurveda derives from Kalaripayattu and vice versa. Yeah.
I have a very interesting question on that. Let's talk about roots. Let's talk about our culture, right? I think us learning art forms is a very amazing way to keep our tradition going, our culture going. How is it for you guys? Like, what do you guys call yourself a very in touch with your roots? In touch, I know for a fact you are, but I'm like, what about you? Like, what do you say, very in touch with your roots, and how important is for you like representing your culture and taking it on for your next generation or your kids? Perhaps?
So I think since I started off with Carnatic music, I think I've always been very in touch with my culture and everything about it, right? Growing up here, you have the tendency to be whitewashed, right? You definitely have the tendency to be that. And I won't say I'm completely, Indian. Like I'm only from there. I'm definitely influenced by everything else around me,
You're
right?
NRIs at the end of the
exactly.
day. Exactly.
I have friends from other cultures, other ethnicities. I went to a British school, so obviously these things do affect you. But again, at the end of the day, I definitely did make sure that even in the field that I'm going into, I took a part of my culture with me, right? Because Carnatic music is from South India, right? And as a Malayali, I'm very proud of the fact that I have done Carnatic music for over 12 years.
High five.
And and dance-wise, I haven't been really able to, connect back to India as much, because I did start off with hip-hop, contemporary, ballet, things like that. So then I think like a year back, I realized, you know what, I need to do something a little bit more traditional. And then I thought Bharatnatyam maybe. Then okay, it's kind of close to Carnatic music. Let me go to the north, right? And then, I discovered Kathak, and I was like, works, right? So I went for a few classes. I tried Kathak and absolutely fell in love with it.
So clearly,
I loved it.
you're in touch with the culture then.
Yeah, I would say I am.
Where did this stem from? Was it like parental influence to get in touch with your culture?
Not okay. The Carnatic music thing definitely started because of my
Later on in
parents.
life when you wanted to
Later
do
on,
Bharatanatyam.
no. I think this is a thing that everyone has. Like as a NRI, I feel like, especially when you reach around like your 20s, I feel like it's a very common thing to just come back and wanting to
Connect
come
with the
back
roots.
to and connect with your roots. Because I know a lot of people who would not wear like kurtis or like salwars, right? They're like, no, it's too Indian for me, right? But now they love doing that. They love, getting the jewelry, they love dressing up in the Indian wear and all of that. But again, I think it's an age thing. I don't really know. Because at that time, I think you just want to kind of, connect more with your other friends and want to be relatable.
Yeah.
You want to be one of those like, YouTube watching kids instead of like Asianet, right?
I've been on the both sides, so
Yeah, so I think it's like, I want to tell my friends I'm watching Disney Channel, right? So I think, so.
I had a friend who used to watch a Malayalam serial with his mom and grandmom. I never understood
I'm
what's up
guilty.
with them.
The thing is,
Yeah.
The thing
That's
is,
kinda odd, not gonna lie, but-
like when we watch TV in home, it's more like, it's not like we want to watch it. It's more like mom won't let us watch anything else apart from serial. So, yeah.
Wow, okay.
I think if you're
Me and
going
Dad, we
deeper
fight
into
for the
that, it's
remote.
also kind of internalized racism, to be honest. Like, because like, no, because you just grow up thinking, you know what, like I'm gonna be made fun of if I wear something Indian, or if I was to bring like Indian food to school, I'm gonna get bullied, right? Like it's just an internalized thing that you have. And later on, you realize it really was not that big of a deal, right? Yeah, and then it's the same thing for me. Like I always thought, I would be a lot cooler if I did hip hop, and I'm like, I only listen to like Western artists, whatever. And then I was like, you know what? That's embarrassing for me if I'm not in touch with my culture, right? Why am I embarrassed of it? I don't need to be. It's so rich. It's so
It's a
rich.
whole roller coaster for you, right? Going.
It definitely
But
was.
that's interesting. But I'm guessing right now what I heard is you are still pursuing Kathak.
Yes, so I'm taking my degree in Kathak
Yeah.
right
How cool
now.
is that?
Wow, okay.
So you can kind of like really embedded within the culture.
Like I said, I totally fell in love with it and never left it.
I'm not very familiar with the music world, dance world. What is Kathak?
So Kathak is a classical dance form that originated from northern India, Lucknow specifically.
Okay.
And it traditionally was not a dance form. It was actually, it came from the word Kathakars, which literally translated means storytellers, right? So these are people who went around traveling from villages to villages, going around telling stories, fictional stories, whatever. Slowly they moved into temples. They started doing performances in temples. And then when the Britishers invaded, or like the Mughal era, I think. Yeah, the Mughal era. That's when it got into its courtesan era. So that's, So
Hiramandi, right? Like,
Hiramandi. Yeah, exactly.
Wait, was that Kathak?
It's a Bollywood version of it, right?
It's a dumbed down version of Kathak.
But they did make a good effort in Hiramandi, definitely. They did make a good effort.
That being said, I think Hussein is a very cool segment, something in line to yours. That's why I would love for him to kind of segue into that as well.
Yeah, I mean, my segment has got to do a lot with everything we've been talking about.
Right.
So it's got to do with taboos, right? So I'm gonna call this segment Think Tank versus Taboo.
Okay.
So coming from a South Asian background, like all of us are, there's a lot of taboo involved when it comes to choosing an unconventional career.
Oh, yeah.
So I remember you saying South Asian parents, for them, their kids are either a doctor, engineer, or a disappointment, right?
Yeah.
So for a lot of them. And because of that pressure, a lot of kids, even though their interest doesn't lay anywhere near medicine or engineering, they choose that because it's the safer option, right? So in this segment, what I'm going to do is I'm going to pose some stereotypical arguments
Okay.
to you when it comes to pursuing an unconventional career. And I just want to hear your counter argument and
Yeah.
prove me wrong. So prove to me wrong why my kids shouldn't take up an unconventional career. Okay. So the first stereotypical statement is you can't make a living from it. It is impossible to have a stable income as a creative professional. What would you say about that?
So what I would say is, as a creative professional, see, presenting, let's say if you want to become a radio presenter is just one part of the profile that you do. So there's also sales, marketing, and there are things around the career. You know, being a presenter alone, there are a lot of realms that you need to look into. So one argument that I would put up up front for him is, in terms of opportunities, let's say advertising wise, anything that you look at the current world, business wise needs advertising. So advertising and media are two fields that, you know, go hand in hand. So when you choose a creative field, I think I came across this on a random Instagram post. So you need to be a good marketer to market it. So you need to be a good artist to know your craft, and you need to be a good businessman to sell this.
Okay.
So unless you are not able to do these three things, don't go into this kind of, like, you know, don't choose this career. And in terms of a parent who's willing to send a person, you know, their children into this walk of, let's say, professional career, I would probably bring up the examples that, you know, we can see around, like, you know, the people who are doing it and how they ended up there. And if not, let's say if this thing doesn't go well, what are the other options that we can get, you know, still stand on our own foot and make money. So
Nice. Namika,
the
what
practical
about you?
version, let's say.
I think for me, it's like, as long as you work hard at what you're doing, I think you're bound to be successful. As long as you give your 200% in what you want to do, and you know for sure that's what you want to do, right? Because, okay, let's say you're doing engineering, right? What's the guarantee you're going to be a good engineer? What's the guarantee you're going to be good at what you do? Or like, what's the guarantee you're going to be successful at it? A lot of people who have come, like my dad is in the oil field, right? He talks almost every day about engineers who come from India. They're highly educated. They come here, they work for peanuts, right? When you look at it money-wise, you're spending a hell lot of money, right, on your education, especially engineering, medicine. It's expensive wherever you do it. And obviously it's a thing that you want to make back. And I just don't think that anything is you know, guaranteed.
So take a chance and go 100%
Exactly.
at it. 100%,
if you want to do medicine, go for it, right? If you want to be a singer, go for it. Again, to be a singer, you can't. Again, just don't wait for opportunities.
But one thing, you know, it might be controversial, but like countering what Hussein said, one point I think is there is sometimes a bit of truth to what, you know, are the concerns of Uncle Mohan and our parents, because a lot of the times when we look at creative fields, they aren't really lucrative. Like the amount of opportunities in comparison with the amount of people who are waiting to get in is huge. So what I would say is, let's say if your dream is to go to from point A to B, so even if you can't go to B, find career options around B. Let's say an A.5 or a C.5 that's near to your B, but at the same time, you know, I mean, you have a fixed mindset of this is what I want to do, but at the same time, you need to have options that includes that combines the skill that you have and your passion.
Love that, man.
Around the fields.
Yeah.
You know,
Because
that is
at some point
true.
of time, when the right
Because-
time comes, you can tap into.
Yeah, because that's literally what I'm doing right now, right? Because I thought of, let's say when I started off thinking, you know, going into this field, I thought, you know, I'm going to become a singer, right? But then ended up doing all these things, right? But again, when you think of it, I don't think I'm going to directly jump into, you know, let's say playback singing, right? I'm not going to directly jump into that and be successful out of thin air. So I think dance, I think acting, I think all these things are, again, mediums for me to get into that and just help to, you know, let people know that I'm here and I can do these things.
I'm going to ask this out of personal curiosity because I don't have a lot of friends in the world you guys are in, okay? So I know when it comes to art, right, there's communication involved in art. For example, for Aditya and I, we have this podcast. It's so easy to communicate with our audience. So let's begin with you. Like for you, how do you maintain a relationship with a faceless audience? Because you can't see the other end. They can hear you, but you can't hear them. You can't see them. How do you manage that?
It's quite tough. And radio is one field that's live and quick. For example, you told me, like, let's say I made a joke, and if it's bad, you get instant response, like, bro, what is this? But at the same time, if it's good, or if I made a movie reference, and let's say, even if I mention the year that it's wrong, there are people who are watching it live who will counter you. Let's say in the messages such as, like, what are you talking, bro?
Yeah.
So that is a very risky part that we deal with, especially in the UAE, concerning the rules and regulations. You have to be very particular about how we discuss things. So faceless audience, if you look at me in radio today, there are two realms. One is the digital realm that we do on social media, which is the TGs entirely, let's say, young people. And on the other hand, the people who listen to radio, especially in Malayalam, let's say more than like people who are 25 plus, 30 plus. So being someone who's under 25, I need to be like, constantly educated, and I need to be constantly informed about, let's say, what was cool for someone who's the age of my dad. Okay. You asked me how I keep myself updated with the Malayalam movies and all that. But at the same time, if there is someone from our generation, so I need to maintain that balance.
100%.
So finding that balance is the key. That's what I believe.
Yeah. And I think one thing really stands on what he said is kind of figure out what you're passionate and figure out what is practical and something that you can make money out of or make a living out of, and combine both, right? I think it's really very interesting topic that a lot of youngsters at least won't think about. I'm talking about like really young people who are just coming out of university and school. I think that's the sweet spot people can really hit, right?
Yeah.
But I think we spoke a lot about like creative industry. We spoke a lot about you guys in specific. Again, I think this is the whole purpose of this our chat, right? To discover established and establishing personalities in the industry. What's the next big thing for you guys, though? Out of curiosity, the next 2 years, next 1 year, what's happening for you guys?
Well, I've signed a movie, a Malayalam movie.
Whoa.
Yeah. So,
Interview.
So that's gonna be my biggest thing for the next year.
Are you allowed to tell us which, or is it like?
It's a little bit of a secret.
Okay. Makes
So, but I can tell you. It's
we need to have a chat after.
Off the record, I can tell you.
Okay, nice.
But it's gonna be a psychological thriller.
Wow, look at that.
It's a campus story.
Okay.
Yeah, and got no male lead, so it's just.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
You've got a male lead? No, I'm sorry.
We've got no male lead.
No male lead.
Yeah. I can act pretty well. Just throwing the shots out.
We don't need.
Again, guys.
Ouch. Yeah. But
I need not say this, but any business that comes out of this, we get a cut out of this. That's in the fine print.
Well,
You guys should have read the fine print. But that's super exciting for you, though. But what about for you, Sachin? Like, what's happening next for you?
next few years, a couple of things that I have in store. I mean, it's pretty confidential. So I'm working on a book. So inshallah, let's say.
Like an autobiography? Or?
Not like an autobiography, but something that is to do with the Gen Z and like the mindset.
Okay.
So,
like advice, kind of?
Kind of, let's say.
Beautiful.
It's a bit of my personal experience plus what I'm going to do. And if you look at a long-term plan, something like a Netflix show on my own or something.
Nice.
That's what I'm looking forward to.
Okay.
Like a media
Netflix
production.
show, okay.
And cinema is one of the things that I'm aspiring to be, like not just on the acting side, but also as a director and as an AD.
Okay.
So looking forward to opportunities in these areas. So yeah, keeping things confidential for now. And one thing that I want to add like a closing point, and what I've seen, because I've had the opportunity to bring some the same thing that you guys are doing, some Gen Z people, Gen Z based talent on my show to feature and tell their story on air. But one issue that I faced, especially in the Gen Z in the UAE, sometimes, we need to let our hands out of the pocket, keep our egos aside. When there is an opportunity that you want, go ahead, ask the guy. And the same thing, you want to connect with people. Instead of going around, sometimes there are things that are right in your hand, but you keep running around for it. But it's already in there. There are people that you already know. There are people, similar talented young people within the community in the UAE. So what I would say is reach out and connect, collaborate, network. Network is the keyword. Wasta.
Help each other at the end of the day. Right?
You don't ask, you don't get. That's how it is.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that's the beautiful thing about youngsters, right? Like we don't need to be some crazy established voice in UAE. I think we all have
everybody can make a dent. Yeah.
We all have a separate journey in our own life, and I think everyone brings a little bits and pieces of information and advice from different people. But I think the main thing I want the audience to know as well is this is just people talking about their own opinions. Frame your own advice, frame your own opinions, live your own life, make your own judgments. This is just people talking. This is us just talking about what works for us.
Yeah.
But something else might work for you. But that's what think tanks about.
Spam the comments, increase the algorithm. Yeah.
Episode 3 was fun. A lot about the industry, and it was fun talking to you guys. Hussein, it was fun hosting with you all as always. Where can people reach out to you in a crisp manner? Like, where can people reach out to you in your socials?
Yeah.
Or what would it be for you guys?
So my Instagram ID goes like RJ Sajant, RJSAJINTH. Feel free to hit me up anytime for anything, any way in which I could help you, your craft, your work, or whatever it is. Yeah,
Nice.
it's always open.
Anamika.
My Instagram is Anamika Jain Official, and you can see everything I do on there. Yeah.
And give her a call like 10 times, and then she might just respond. You know? No, okay. I had to put it there.
Cut it right now.
So what about you, Mike? Can people reach out to you? And
Guys, I'm too old for this. No Instagram, nothing. You want to find me? Tune into this podcast. Smooth. We need the budget. They could only afford suit for him. Today's budget, they couldn't. That's why I had to dress down, you know.
Also, happy birthday again.
Thank you, guys. Thank you for that. It means a lot. Nonetheless, it was a great episode, guys. Thanks for coming. We'll definitely do something with you in the near future.
Yes.
Thanks for tuning in. That's
Thanks,
a bit
guys.
for us. Thank you.